Yeah.
Hi Sachin, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, and in fact, I'm doing very well. How about you?
That's perfect. Well, I'm also doing well myself. Today, you know what, I've done something interesting. I woke up into a new habit of doing push-ups every morning. I used to be an athlete before doing running like 10K, 15K, but for the longest period of time, I haven't been doing anything on that. And I don't know, because of circumstances, conditions I've been subjected into. But today I just said, you know what, I would draw actually a program that, for the next 21 days, that this is me doing something practical, and developing new
Well,
habits.
that's great. That's fantastic. And so you started it today.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Great, great, great.
So basically, I wanted to know with yourself, because I know that there are some habits that you have unlearned and learned something new out of it. What is it that you have done to actually develop new habits and new beliefs? You know.
Well, of course, there are certain things that I did, and of course, that you can change this habit into, this new thing that you do, push up, taking push ups or doing some workout in the morning. It can be developed into a habit, something that, over time you can do it, and of course, you want to know so how to do it, right? So,
Okay.
here's the tip. Okay, tip number one. Uh, so, it's actually a question.
Okay.
Okay, so the question is, why do you do it? Do you have any answer?
Uh, it's just something healthy. It's good for the body, for the
Okay,
mind.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's healthy. It's good for your mind. So beyond that, do you see any other goals? Beyond that, you know, any specific goals? So do you, whether you want to become a six pack and have a healthy body, some people. So when people see you, yeah, look at that man, and yo, see that his body is awesome, man. No,
Yeah,
yeah,
basically, there are intentions to be in shape, to be, fit, and
yeah, that's great. That's great.
okay, yeah.
Yeah. So the first tip is having that, a very big why. So if you want to develop anything, if you want to have a habit, develop a habit or change a habit, whatever that you need to have that why, because that why, once that why is in place, you can go forward. So for example, next day when you wake up, probably you might really want to go back to bed again and sleep, because it's early in the morning and nobody is waking up early in the morning, and it's quite cold, and you feel like lying down there for a bit more time. And this is usual, we feel that in the morning. But if you have a why bigger than the pleasure that you get while you're sleeping, if you have a why bigger than the pain that you're ready to take, if you have a why, such a why, then your waking up could be much more simpler, much more easier. Otherwise it will be quite hard. This is why, one of the reasons why people give up easily as soon as they fail doing at doing something. So they keep doing it. After 1 week they cannot see that why, and once they lose their vision to that why, and they lose the track. So first thing I want you to know is to have a why, a need. That's a very specific, very powerful why, which actually pushes you beyond those painful moments, beyond those struggles and moments. So just note it down, not your why. Otherwise, for example, you can draw a picture of a masculine body on your living room, where you can see often, so that every time when you wake up and you look at that, yeah, that's where I am going. So have a why. So that's the first thing that you need. And the second thing is, you need to remind yourself this why every time, no, in order not to forget where you're going. Okay, And once you so I think in the last episodes we talked about how to unwire the habits, and we learned how these habits actually happens. It has this three stages. In the first stage, where there is a cue, where there is a take that, let's look at the trigger. Okay, so there must be a trigger that actually pushes you to do that habit. So what is the trigger here? For example, you can, every time when you wake up, you can put something that reminds you of this exercise habit. So let's say you can put what do you say, you can put an alarm clock where the alarm says, wake up, it's time to do the exercise, something like that. So that would be wonderful. So in other ways, you can for example, you can look at the picture of you having a muscular body just in front of you when you wake up. So as you wake up and you see that, sometimes if you have a bad time, you might not in a good mood, and you look up at that and you say, oh, this is not going to work. So sometimes we are people, we are vulnerable, we sometimes feel that. But it's you always need to see that if you stick on to that plan, if you stick on to that consistently on that plan, definitely that's going to work out. So you need to have a cue, a trigger that actually reminds you, yes, this is exercise time, this is not the time to lie down, this is not the time to watch Netflix, this is not the time to have a coffee, this is not the time to do anything else, this is the time to exercise. So put something in your living room that reminds you of this. Change your alarm tune into something that reminds you of this exercise. And for example, if your exercise is running, and then take your running shoe and place it somewhere where you see. So immediately when you wake up, you see that shoe and you get up there. Okay, so that reminds you, yes, running, right? So this is the first thing, is the trigger. Okay. And second thing, that actually this trigger, once you see the trigger, what happens when you are in a habit mood, or when you are driven by a habit, what happens is this trigger actually increases the dopamine levels in your body, and it produces a craving in your body. You want to do that. This is why many people can't give up smoking, because when they see this trigger, some places, otherwise the cigarette packet, when they see the trigger, the brain produces a craving. I want to do that, kind of this irresistible feeling to do that, to have that smoking. So if you want to have this craving, you need to connect that trigger with something that's very healthy, with something that's tempting to do that. So for example, here, craving, you can produce the craving by envisioning the future goal of you standing there as with a muscular body, with a smile, with a happy life. You can just connect that. So that's where visualization comes in play. So every time what you need to do is, you have to, every time you see that trigger, that cue, maybe it's seeing that your picture, what you have to do is, you have to imagine that future self is being developed there. And so that's the first stage, initial stage, triggering, putting that correct cue on place. And then once you kind of develop that, connect with that future mind, future vision of you, that's where you actually produce these cravings. So it does not happen in one day, but it happens eventually. It happens in 1 week, after 2 weeks. If you just keep practicing it, it happens. So, and then once you do that, the next one thing that you need to do is exercising, that working out. So most of us, this exercising is really, really painful, because it's you need to take effort, you need to give up your sleep, you need to give up a lot of other stuff, those comforting things. You need to give up watching the movie. So because that's what we do. We have a coffee, we have something snack, and then we watch movie. So that's pleasant thing, but you need to give up that. So give up that. Have the courage to give up that and come back to that routine and develop. Just do the thing that you want to do. Do it passionately. Every time when you do each time when you do it, don't concentrate, how many things, how many numbers, how many push-ups that you need to take. Just concentrate on one at a time, one at a time. Maybe, be more mindful about your body. Think about how your body moves, how how you take breathe. Just be mindful of that activity. So because being mindful of the activity in turn helps you to be more relaxed, to be more focused, and focus on your body, focus the movement of your breath, focus the movement of your body, your muscles movement, and then do the activity with as a ritual, as something that you do, with a sacredness, so do it as a ritual. Make it something that's really something that you look forward to every morning. So when you make this something as a ritual, you make it, for you, it's easier to make this into a habit. So that's the second. And immediately after you finish the habit itself, the routine, which is exercising, reward yourself. Give something back to yourself. Give something back to yourself. Okay, you did a great job, right? You exercised it. You did something quite contrary to your daily routines. You never did that before. Maybe you used to do it, but you never did it for a long time. But you're doing it again. You're changing your life. So reward your physical body for some time. Just relax for a few minutes. Relax for a few minutes. Read something, or just have a nice coffee. Do not indulge too much, but indulge, in a way that as a reward for your body. You can relax, have a coffee, and watch something really healthy, and you can just, spend just a few minutes with your loved ones. You can just, kiss on her forehead and talk to her about the things that you want to accomplish in your future. So these are the things, it's rewarding. So that's why I say I say habits. You need to change the habit into ritual. So make this as a ritual. Doing the habit, seeing the cue, doing the ritual, or doing the habit as a ritual, and then following that ritual, you do something else for your body, for your mind, and for your loved ones. Of something that you do. It's you can read a book, you can watch something that's healthy, you can have a coffee with your loved ones, anything. Okay, so that part, the ending part, actually finishes that ritual. Okay, and so always remember, always connect this goal, which is exercising, to your goal, which is to have a muscular body. Okay, so you need to have that vision. Okay, you need to know where you're going. So if you do this consistently, let's say for 21 days, on 22nd day, I don't know if you will automatically do it. Still there might be some resistance, to go back to sleep, because that's your brain has been doing for a long time. But on 22nd days, I think your resistance will become much easier, much simpler, much less difficult to face, and you find it quite easier, to wake up from the bed and do the exercises. That exercise will be becoming a part of you soon. So yeah, so that's how you grow a habit. That's how you develop a habit. So
I don't know, Sachin, if you are aware of this, that if a person has been through depression, uh, post-depression,
yeah, post-traumatic
uh,
depression, yeah.
yes, and then people tend to develop apathy feelings. In other words, they lack interest in whatever thing that they used to like. So whether it would be running or doing something or reading or singing, they totally quit, you know. Then to a person like that, how do we help this person find new interests that are healthy and that are in line with which will serve as a reminder of who he was before depressive state in life.
Yeah, definitely. So, if you just there is actually a problem with the neurological state of their brain. Because most of the people who are depressed, especially who are going through a depression, because I had depression. I used to be depressed. So most of the people who go through the depression or depression stage, there, if you look at their brain, you could see that their brain is actually centered on only very specific areas. The brain is, most of the brains and part of the brains are not functioning. They are focused on only on the past incidents that happened quite years back, and they are reliving those experiences again and again, and just focusing less on the rest of the lifestyles. So of course, it's for people, especially for people who are going through the depression, it's quite difficult to come back to their normal life, because it's that it depends upon the severity of that depression. It depends upon the actual incident that happened in their lives. But the good news is that you can always come back to your life, but because it depends upon what you do on a daily basis. What you do on a daily basis. Now, if you think, imagine if you know that you have depression. Okay, you acknowledge that you have a depression. Most people, they don't know that they are depression. So when they know that they are depressed, they are going through a depression, post-traumatic depression, they're going through a struggle, what they need to do is they immediately need to seek help from people, from their loved ones. And they need to reschedule their daily lives, because that will help them to rewrite the total events. So suppose you think that you actually have had a very traumatic experience, which you lost your loved one, and you don't want to meet anyone, you don't want to talk to anyone. You think that having another relationship is very hard because you can't forget the person that you were in a relationship with, and so you are having this hard time. And what you do is you repeatedly think over, or you relive your experience, you relive your memories, you try to be there instead of be outside, mingling with the people, socializing with the people, doing different stuff. So the first thing that you need to do is acknowledge you have a problem, acknowledge that you have a depression. So we all have different life circumstances. We all lose people. We all fail at in our businesses or everything. It's life. It's how life is. It's difficult. So having said that, it doesn't mean that you need to spend your whole life reliving your past life. You also need to come back to your normal life after one a particular time, because of course you need to mourn for those loved ones, or you need to you are 100% are deserved to be sad, to be mad, to be angry at whatever that happened. But if you keep reliving those experiences, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah,
Okay,
very
so
people.
acknowledge there is a problem, and then do anything that actually come back to. So one thing that I tell you is, you can change your circumstance, you can change your environment, habitat. So changing a habitat would be really good. So for example, you can go for a travel, to a countryside. You can just take otherwise you can change your job, or you can start doing something completely different. Maybe you can start helping your neighbor, so anything. So just change the daily routines that you're doing, change it. Bring some random stuff into your life, things that you have never experimented with your life, because those things, of course, put us to, or expose us to different possibilities in life, that in turn will actually completely change how we see life. So change your habitat, change your because let's imagine if you're living in the same house, seeing the same things For example, imagine you lost your loved ones, but still you're living in the same house, you're living with the same memories, you're seeing the same photographs, seeing the same books, so seeing everything the same, nothing changes. Then probably, what you do, what happens is these things will keep reminding you of those people, those circumstances, and those hard times, and you will be depressed forever. So change that circumstances. Rewrite your story. If you lose someone from your life, just imagine what do they want for you. If they truly love you, what they want for you, to be depressed all your life? No way. That wouldn't be. No. So let's imagine if that person comes to your life and see you in depressed in this state, what would they think of you, right? So do completely different, change your habitat, and bring new habits. So that's the third thing. So you can start having new habits, like running in the morning, doing some exercises, otherwise doing some charitable work in the morning. So these will actually help you to become more better at yourself. It will actually helps you to use your hard times, use your strugglesome moments, use your the hard times to develop something better, to create something better. So develop some habits, new habits, and we just have discussed how we can develop habits.
And you know what? You're saying something very interesting, because I'm just thinking of a person now in a situation whereby they've tried everything out of creative value and out of experiential value that they could explore, but nothing really turned out. So all those avenues of creativity, experiential, were blocked. Now, this person only has one value which he can realize, which is the attitude. So I really think that another thing that we should be working on towards is working towards our attitude. Because an attitude on its own can make circumstances much more bearable. And in this, I'm also coming into conclusion that miracles, there wouldn't be miracles without tiny little habits of tiny little habits that amount into each other and end up making a huge difference within our lives. So then it amounts into miracles at the end because of these little habits that you keep on doing every day, and they amount to something great. So tell me more. How can a person actualize a habit into a ritual?
Yeah, so definitely. So how can we yeah, that's a good question. How can we change a habit into a ritual? Habit and a ritual. So for example, going to a church. So what are rituals? Going to a church is a ritual. Or meditation is a ritual. Or for example, you could see people what is a for example, nuns or monks. They are doing the rituals. So rituals consist of a few things. There are a few things that you need to do in order. In an order, so that and which actually has a purpose. So just like I said, developing a habit, it's the same way of developing a habit. So when you make a ritual, a habit into a ritual, you make it something very sacred, something that's really something that is very close to your heart, something that's very meaningful, something that gives you purpose. So make that habit something very meaningful, something that gives you hope, something that gives you strength, something that actually gives you a purpose. So When you do that, for example, let's say you start doing the exercises, morning exercises, and so when you see it as a ritual, you see it as a meaningful activity that will give you something, something to your physical self as well as your mental self and your spiritual self. So when you meditatively exercises, using using the mindfulness, just when you are doing the activity itself, like maybe perhaps you are doing the push-up, so you're pushing up each time. When you take the push-ups, you're being mindful about your body, your spiritual self, your mental self, and you're doing that. And when you see it as something sacred, as something that gives you purpose, something that gives you meaningful, something that gives you a meaning for the existence of your life, when you do that and then connect with your higher goals, you as a human being living this on this planet, doing something, a difference, making a difference in the world. So when you do that, so it becomes, you can change that into a ritual. So yeah, that's my suggestion. That's my techniques, changing a habit into rituals. So make it something meaningful, something purposeful, something something sacred, and then connect with your higher goal, and probably then it will become a ritual, and you can take that ritual further to make a wonderful living.
Yeah, it actually makes a lot of sense to me that it has to be something that has to be sacred, something that's meaningful, something that is sort of like your life support in a sense, and then it becomes very meaningful to your life. Um, then you also mentioned something about being mindful. Can you say remind us of being mindful of our bodies? How can a person be mindful of his body in ending, basically?
Yeah, it's being mindful is quite simple. It's about being present at the moment. Now, as I said, it's a simple, it's also the most difficult thing to do,
So in other
because
words, you can say it's being conscious.
yeah, so yeah,
Okay.
exactly. It's just becoming conscious. It's being aware of your body. It's being aware of your movements. It's being aware that you exist in that realm, in that moment. It's that you know that you what you're doing. It's that moment of awareness where you
Mm.
are what you are doing, whatever that you're doing. It's that simplicity of beingness, and appreciating, understanding your existence. So that's what this mindfulness is, and it's very simple. But although we can simply state this, it's the most difficult thing to do because we are bombarded with information every day, right?
Exactly.
We get up, we wake up from your from the by the alarm buzzing from the mobile phones. So you take that and you look at it and you see lots of notifications. You go through it and you see, you look at your Facebook, your what your YouTube, and you see lots of other stuff, and you go outside, you see all the stuff. So we are bombarded with the informations, and it's quite difficult to put our attention on a specific object for a long time. But if you started to put your attention on yourself, on your breathings, relaxingly, and if you can do that, that will completely change your life. Because it's for
Mm.
because you know years of research actually suggest mindfulness meditation, or being mindful, or just being mindful. How you breathe, in fact, changes your brain. It changes how your brain functions. It
Mm.
changes your stress, how you body stress out. So so that mindfulness it's great. Is something that's great, something that can completely change your life. It's not just you know being aware of your breath, but it's more than that. When it comes to real outcome, when it comes to results, it's more than that.
Mm. In ending this session for today, I'm realizing that it is important. Yes, we've been stressing this throughout our talks and our previous episodes, the importance of having a why in life, because it's end up being having that strong pull factor in your life to reaching your goals, your destinations, your vision, your ultimate purpose. And also, you also come across, you mentioned it is important to remind ourselves of things that are important to us, things that makes us tick, things that makes us be alive, and also to connect the triggers with something healthy. That was very important for me because we need to know how do we really connect our triggers with something that is very healthy, because in that we are cross addicting to something different and something that is better for us, not detrimental to ourselves. And also
Yes.
being mindful to our bodies, how our bodies function. And I think also being mindful to our bodies makes us to listen to our bodies, because we won't force our bodies to do things that it doesn't want to do. I think that's also very important. And also to have rituals, make rituals of habits, that's a standout. Thank you so much, Sachin, for a
Thank you,
beautiful
thank you,
day.
thank you, thank you so much for that. For helping me to take the section to different levels. So, thank you so much, Makai. And of course, we'll be coming with a new episode on next. Yeah, next Friday, Saturday, right?